JDC News.
Welcome to JDC News with me, your host, Dan Stanfill. The international struggle in Libya was given a boost in April when Colonel Gadaffi's foreign minister Moussa Koussa defected after accidentally revealing himself to be British writer and comedian Barry Cryer. Cameras captured the moment when Moussa Koussa froze at a press conference, realising he'd brought the wrong speech.
Lady in bed with a man she should not be with, her husband was in Hong Kong. Classic start to any joke.
Avoiding the journalist's questions, Moussa Koussa fled to London, where he stayed for nearly 2 weeks before going on to Libyan peace talks in Qatar. It is currently unclear whether Moussa Cryer's stay in London was to escape Gadaffi's wrath and consider his future, or merely to record a new series of Radio 4 comedy, I'm sorry, I haven't a clue. Barry Koussa, meanwhile, has had little to say on the matter, except to say he's surprised that no one rumbled him earlier with an obvious comedy name such as Moussa Koussa. And still on the Libyan crisis, let's go live to our foreign correspondent, Warren Peace. Warren, what's the latest situation there?
Thanks, Dan. Sorry about the mix-up last time between Napoli and Tripoli, but I'm here firmly in Libya now. I'm not in the relatively safe havens of Tobruk or Benghazi. I'm here where the action is in Masrata. Obviously, the fighting's intense here, so I'm on the outskirts of Masrata just now, just on the edge of the desert, as you can tell by the expanse of sand behind me. The fighting, it's been to and fro between Gadaffi's forces and the rebels. The only saving grace being that Gadaffi's air force has been kept at bay by the US drones in operation.
What's that noise? Is that music I can hear? Turn the camera
I can't hear. No.
Warren,
Sorry,
are you at the seaside?
No. Oh, okay. Yes, it's Blackpool, Dan. It's true news, though. It's true news. I've got it from the BBC. It's true.
Thanks, Warren. No, really, thanks. The Church of England has given advice to vicars about avoiding sham marriages. We talk now to Father Christopher Mars about this. So, Father, is this going to make much difference?
Oh, it's going to be a wonderful change. Sham marriages have been an open secret amongst the clergy since, well, practically forever. And it's going to be good for our flock to see us finally coming clean and getting rid of them.
Do you personally know of many sham marriages?
Well, there's at least 2 bishops, the archdeacon, several vergers. I only married my own wife for appearance's sake. Maybe I'll be able to leave her and get together with my verger. He's also my sexton, but I like to think of him as my sexton.
Haven't you read the guidance? It's meant to stop sham marriages for immigration.
Oh, I thought it was about civil partnerships. No, I'm joking. It's a joke. In the clergy, we have a sense of humour. We like to joke about these things. It's a pun, a riddle, if you like. A riddle about my wife. I love my wife dearly. Love my wife, and not my sexton. But no. There's women are wonderful creatures. My wife especially. No, there's no sodomites in the modern church.
Thanks for your time, Father. New research shows that 1/3 of high blood pressure cases are caused by doctors. Many people get so stressed at having their blood pressure taken at a surgery that they give an elevated reading that is not part of their day-to-day life. JDC reporter Tony Flange investigates.
Thanks, Dan. We know that doctors cause 1/3 of high blood pressure, but what causes the other 2/3? I've agreed to wear an ambulatory blood pressure and heart rate monitor for a normal day at work to try finding out. There we are, and as you can see, it's a simple little device that records the blood pressure from this small sleeve on my wrist and measures my heart rate by these 2 electrodes. And there we go, I'm all ready to go to work now, wired up for blood pressure and heart rate monitoring. With my jacket on, of course, no one can tell I'm wearing the device. All that's left before I go is to put on the head-mounted camera so we can see what actually causes the blood pressure to rise. It's quite important that the device is unobtrusive so that nobody treats me differently, and we'll find out what it is in our normal day-to-day life that causes the blood pressure to peak. After establishing baseline readings, I set off to work feeling quite relaxed, though I suspect that will soon change. Surprisingly, A day in the office is pretty much stress-free, despite several important production meetings. Maybe this report won't cast any light upon the sources of stress after all. On the way home, a quick trip to a supermarket which won't be named, and with it the first real irritation of the day. I'm not allowed to film inside the store, though luckily I can still record audio and biomedical data. God, look at the size of that queue. Oh, self-service checkout it is. Here we go, number of phone bags used, 1.
Unexpected item in bagging area. Remove this
Yes,
item
it's my bag, I
before
told you.
continuing. Unexpected item
Yes,
in bagging
yes.
area. Remove this item before continuing.
Okay then, I'll put my bag on the floor. Come on, let's scan this. Come on, scan it. Come on. Come on, scan it. Thank you.
Unexpected item in bagging area.
How can it be
Remove this
unexpected?
item
You've
before
just
continuing.
scanned it. Come on.
Did you use any of your own bags?
Yes, I told you I'm using my own bag. I'm using one bag, I told you.
Unexpected item in bagging area. Remove this
How
item
hard can
before
it be, you
continuing.
stupid machine?
Please wait for assistance.
Oh, for... Ah! And finally, after the stress of the supermarket, it's back home to relax in the garden with a lager and the day's newspapers. Bliss. Doctors may cause a third of high blood pressure, but it's supermarket checkouts and newspaper scaremongering that makes us see red and causes the other 2/3. This has been Tony Flange reporting for JDC News. Back to you in the studio, Dan.
Interesting stuff, Tony. In other medical news, a study suggests that doctors give advice to patients that they themselves would not take. We spoke to a doctor about this last night.
I know, you shouldn't drink, you shouldn't smoke, but I'm medically trained, I know what I'm doing, right? It's none of your bloody business. Look, none of you...
Well, all I can really say to that is, Doctor, no! Both as a comment on doctors misbehaving in that way, and there's a link to Bond news coming up in JDC's Entertainment News with Fanny Fidela.
The big news for action fans this month is that Bond's returning to the big screen. Last year, a debt-ridden MGM put plans for the 23rd Bond film on hold, but now, thanks to a co-financing deal with Sony, the picture's back on. Everyone involved with the project is very keen to make sure that the public understand it's not going to be a budget Bond, although there have been some cuts made, most notably a move away from Daniel Craig as the star role. I caught up with director Gary Silverberg on set earlier on. A lot of people seem very worried that the new Bond film might be very small in scope after a leaked script appeared on the internet claiming that it's about a Russian arms dealer trying to rid the world of music by 80s band Stone Roses. Is there any truth in this?
It's wrong to think that Fool's Goldfinger will be any less epic than previous Bond films. Sure, there's been some budget restrictions, but I think we've managed to make cuts in places that most fans won't even notice. Places like dialogue and accent training for the actors. I think we're still bringing all the main Bond elements to the big screen. The casinos of Monaco may be beyond our budget, but we've still got high stakes gambling in exotic locales. Dimitri, go fuck off.
Da, and you must be coming in Bond.
Do you play cards, Dimitri?
Poker, blackjack.
Lucky streak. 90,000 too high for you, Dimitri.
Never.
Let's scratch. You'll find that's a pair of wands. I won, Dimitri. Keep the coin.
I'll be back, Bond. I'll be back.
Bond still uses several forms of transport and equipment designed by Q.
Sure, nice lab.
Double O.
Poison tip?
Give that to me. Bond, common sense. This is Manchester. It's going to be raining in the next 30 minutes. I have this for you.
A secret laser? Thermite charge? Voice changer?
Well, it has a vibrating alarm. Silent. So only you know when it's going off, Double O. And it's set to 0930.
0930? Is that my rendezvous with Felix?
That's when the public transport times change from peak to off-peak.
Ah, cheaper travel.
Indeed, indeed.
Ah, this must be my smartphone, state-of-the-art. Let's see, GPS, video capability, encrypted telecommunications.
Oh, yes, it is. But that's not for you, that's my personal phone.
Oh,
Put this away. I have this for you.
Oh.
Make sure you keep it topped up, Double O.
And the fight scenes are just as big and brutal, even with the actors doing their own stunts. Without training, I might add.
I'm going to kill you, but not before I explain my wicked plan.
And the Bond girls? Wow, they're beautiful. We really splashed down on the Bond girls. Although that scene had to be cut to avoid an adult-only rating. Well, that seems to put a lot of our fears to rest. It's not going to be a budget Bond after all. It's going to be as big as any of them. Whilst on set, I also managed to catch up with new Bond leading actor Neil Curmudgeon. I asked him whether following the footsteps of Roger Moore and Sean Connery added any pressure. Oh, lovely. After all my years training at RADA and the RSC, I can turn my hand to any role at the drop of a hat, really. And for an English thespian to play the part of a Scottish tax exile super spy, it's the classic role, really. Classic role. The only damn problem, really, is being a method actor, and I can't really stand bloody martini, but shaken it is. The trials and tribulations of an artist. Cheers. That's Fool's Goldfinger, in cinemas soon. Music news now, and apparently singer Jessie J is shocked to find out that students drink lots. In other reports, she's said to be knocked for six upon hearing about Bear's defecation habits. Her management have been trying to keep all talk of papal belief systems from the young singer's ears for fear that she could be completely knocked out of action. I know how she feels. Life is so confusing these days. TV news now. Following the success of the American show giving a cop's eye view of life, the British version met with severe criticism after the first episode aired, showing the wired-up policeman going to the shops for cake and biscuits, moaning about paperwork, before returning back to the station and doing this. Alright, time to get on with some paperwork. Don't mind giving her going over my truncheon. Hello, police. Had your bag nicked? Were they black? White, you say? Well, they're probably the light. They're probably black, weren't they? Do you think they were Muslim? We'll get the black bastard, don't we? After I finish this. Forces across the country have been quick to point out that this policeman is not representative of everyone and that you can't expect such a quick response to a ringing phone every time. That's been entertainment news with me, Fanny Fidela. Back to you in the studio, Dan. Thanks, Fanny. I can't wait for that Bond film. He's like an English Jason Bourne in a tux, isn't he? Well, that's all for the first part of JDC News. Come back after the break for financial news, the Van Diesel challenge, and much, much more. Don't touch that dial.